As Patricia said earlier, there's a connection about Rita Gavazarani among some of us. And this is, well, it's called A Ghost Story. Several years ago, poet Rita Gavazarani read at the campus auditorium. Nationally recognized, award-winning, beautiful, humble, funny Rita read to 6 people because no one showed up. The college has tens of thousands of students, and at the time she read, there were a few thousand on campus. And in that building alone, hundreds of students wandered the halls, talking on cell phones and talking trash. The auditorium was a ghost town. No one was there to listen to what I heard when Rita read, "Little by little, I'll figure it out. I'll say to them, relax. We'll live to be 100. I'll sort things out." And a child danced down steps toward the small crowd. He climbed on our laps and held our hands and clapped for his mom. It was an afternoon of symmetry and balance, the way things should be when you think of a poetic afternoon. And later we went out to dinner and we swapped stories about what we were working on and what was next. Her son laughed hard, often for no reason at all. A few weeks later, for what seemed no reason at all, Rita, in a bout of depression and anger, killed her son and then killed herself to punish her husband, to get even with him for reasons I didn't know. Time passes. The next poet I heard read in that auditorium was award-winning, deeply moving Yusuf Kunzinger. What a tragic night. First, the sound system kept blinking on and off, and he went from yelling to whispering until he finally moved the podium right to the large, engaged, and patient audience and read in an unassisted voice. But then the lights flickered on and off until they went out completely, and the poor man read by the light of a cell phone. Still he read, "Here you are still, reposed behind glass, like a work of art." But the lights flickered and the speakers buzzed, though off. And I turned to a friend and said, "It's like this place is haunted. You know, the last person to read here was Rita, her last reading before she killed herself and her son just to get back at her husband." And my friend turned and asked if I was joking. And when I told him it was true, his eyes widened and he paused in disbelief and said, pointing at Yusuf, "Kunzinger was Rita's husband, her boy's father. She killed herself and their son because of him." Yusuf, with no lights and no sound, graciously thanked the audience for their patience and fumbled his way out of the dark into the lobby to sign his new book, Talking Dirty to the Gods. I'm going to read one more, and it's here somewhere, honest. It's about my son and my grandmother. I do a series of pieces called DNA blank. This is called DNA Grandma. My grandmother died a few years ago at like 96. And she was completely aware, well, with some exceptions, as you see in a second, until she was 96. So living alone in New York City. Anyway, many years ago, Michael and I drove east on the Southern State Parkway in a clip out to eastern Long Island to visit my 91-year-old grandmother. Traffic backed up by Kennedy, but all that thinned out. Then finally we slipped onto Montauk Highway, the October morning sun still in our eyes. And we swept past fishing villages where islanders hosed down sidewalks and set up sail tables all along main streets of every town from Oakdale to the Hamptons. At my grandmother's, I knocked for 5 minutes, could hear the television streaming out from her second-floor window. She didn't answer, so I called her on my cell. "Oh, you're downstairs. You know, I thought I heard someone knocking, so I looked out, and I thought it looked like you, but I wasn't sure." "You knew I was coming at this time, right, Grandma? Is that Michael next to you? He's so tall now. How old is he?" We talked from sidewalk to window, looking at each other. "Grandma, can you buzz us in?" She buzzed us in. We talked a while, and I stared at the same furniture, same knickknacks, same pictures she's had around her since I was a child. She got rid of the plastic that covered the furniture when she lived in Queens, but I sat on the same chair, her and Michael on the same sofa she had since the Kennedy administration. It was all still in excellent condition. "How old are you now, Michael?" she asked. 11. She raised her eyebrows. She'd not seen him since he was 3. "Is he your only one?" she called to me 3 feet away. "Yep, he's it." "Oh, Michael, that's wonderful. Thank God you're the only one. You'll get everything." "How old are you now?" 11. "He's 11. Oh my, I haven't seen him since what? He's 5? 3. "Oh, imagine, is he your only one?" "Yup, he's it." "Oh, that's something, Michael. Thank God you're the only one at home. You have the house to yourself. How old are you now?" 11, he answered, as if for the first time he has more patience than I. 11, imagine, is he the only one at home? "Yeah, Grandma, I killed all the others." "Oh, he's joking, Michael. Your dad's joking." "Thank God you're the only one at home. You'll get everything," she said. "How old are you now?" 20 minutes of this. Then we sat and did nothing. Michael walked about. He paid no attention to his father and great-grandmother sitting across from each other, sometimes for an hour at a stretch without us saying anything to each other. Sometimes Grandma would sigh, look out the window, and laugh at some thought. Sometimes I'd make a quick comment like, "The air feels good up here with your windows open," or "The flowers on the coffee table look nice," and she'd smile, motion toward whatever I talked about and agreed with whatever I said briefly, and then spent the time looking at Michael or at me. It was quiet. But Michael understood. This was her sustenance. This helped her look forward to another day, even perhaps another season. This was her daily bread. And for a long time that afternoon, the 3 of us sat and felt the October breeze. We talked and we remembered. We ate ham sandwiches on white bread and drank tea. And eventually we left. Before we did, though, my grandmother asked Michael if he wanted anything. "Take whatever you want, anything, just take it." "Oh, no, thank you, though," Michael answered politely, scanning the room. "Oh, come on, take something. Take something from that shelf there. There's good stuff there," she called out, sweeping her hand toward the dining room. I gave Michael a nod to let him know taking something in this situation might be a compliment, a way to let Grandma know we appreciate her. He picked up a bowling trophy my mother had won years earlier. Perfect. Later, in the car, he told me he'd give it back to his own grandmother. A few days later, my grandmother called my mom and wanted to know who took the goddamn trophy. Thank you.